What up, what up? Welcome to Issa POPup Wednesday minisodes on the Kingship Podcast right here with me, Ruby V. Main episodes of the Kingship Podcast drop every Sunday at midday East African time. If you haven't checked out the other previous episodes, make sure that you go ahead and check it out. So the whole point of this pop-up is to expose you to some new artists, some new music, or some shit that I'm fucking with. But before we get into that, let's do a little recap of last week's episode. So on last week's episode, it was rants and musings from me, and I talked about Xtatic, the notorious Kenyan group known for their explicit lyrics. I also spoke about disciplining your kids by spanking, and of course, the term underrated. Now we got this segment called Streets is Talking. The Streets is Talking, where I get to air your views and opinions about what I talked about on the podcast. So shout out to Tela Wangeshi, who said, I'm absolutely happy that Ruby called out the bullshit that our forerunners are sleeping on. I'm listening to this podcast. Oh, go ahead and listen to this podcast because I relate to what she's saying heavily. Shout out Tela. Shout out to, I got somebody else. Bauya Proes, who's also an avid listener of my show on Homeboys Radio. He says, first things first, it's like your voice was made for doing podcasts because you sound amazing. Thank you, baby. I love the idea you're bringing to the Kenyan scene. E.g., you're not only talking about music, but also stuff like mental awareness. So big up to you. Massive shout out to you for listening, man. I'm also going to be sharing a couple snippets, voice notes that I received from a couple people about Xtatic. And here is what a couple people had to say about Gengeton and the explicit nature of their lyrics. Massive shout out to Carol of Turning Tables, who had to say this.
Hey, what's up, Ruby? I had a really good time listening to the podcast, Rants and Musing. I appreciate the context of the conversation. I like the fact that a lot of people, especially in this industry, tend to turn a blind eye to such situations, but the fact that you really went hard on that conversation and the implications and everything that is entailed in the kind of content creatives put out there, the whole Msanini Kiocha Jamii, not too many take a minute to internalize and understand the repercussions and the intensity of the kind of message they put out there. So big up for calling this out, big up for calling for accountability and all that. I also had fun with like the different topics you picked after the rant, especially that the father that was punishing the son because he failed. I mean, that is not unusual in an African setup, but we also overlook how parent-child relationship work and how to cultivate it. And I feel like that is one of the conversations that we should really envision to have, like, wholesomely, holistically.
Massive shout out to Wahu Kiragu as well, who did a whole article about the ethical dilemma of Gengeton. And she says that yes, music is a reflection of what is happening in the society. And if there is no morality in society, the music will reflect that. But in conclusion, she said, however, it is indeed an issue of immorality. Ignorance is never an excuse. It would be expected that an artist worth their salt should be in a position to creatively express their inclinations, however unconventional, in a way that creatively fits in the social mesh, cushioning the young and inculpable from toxicity and eventual trauma. A vicious cycle. I couldn't agree more. I also had a conversation about this with Fenna, who is going to be featuring on episode 5 this Sunday, and this is what she had to say.
Here's the thing, so I'll start with the important things being Gengeton has employed so many youth and it's giving them an opportunity for growth. However, they need to be responsible with this opportunity because we as the audience don't have time for, that kind of thing. However, on the flip side, if you look at the international industry, like in the States, those lyrics would be baby lyrics compared to what they sing out there. So we also can't be the ones to, there's lines they've crossed. That one for sure we can't condone.
Yeah.
But then the nature of Gengeton is very secular, very shake your ass, do this, do that. So there's a way to do it and do it tastefully, I think.
Definitely, yes.
So
Yeah.
if it was up to me, it would be more of mentorship.
And there you have it. You can always hit me up with your comments, your feedback, your tweets at JustRubyV is how you find me across all social media platforms. If you have my WhatsApp number, you are welcome to send me a voice note so that I can include it in the podcast for the next episode. All right then. Now, let's get into today's podcast or today's pop-up. Today's pop-up is a review of Xtatic's tape called SoXial Xperiment. So it dropped in April, last month. I mean, we're only 2 days in April. It's like what? Yeah, 5 days in April. So it dropped in April. It has 10 songs. And what I would say about this project is when you listen to it, you just gonna know like Sad Nigga Hours is in full effect. Xtatic was really in her bag. I really love how she switches up and how she tests her voice. I really love the singing X. One time I actually thought that Here We Go Again, which is on the project, I thought it was Xenia, but it was actually Xtatic, and it is such a breath of fresh air to hear her switch so effortlessly from rapping to singing. And please, more X. Please give us more music. So I had a conversation, of course, with X about the name SoXial Xperiment and the project as a whole, and here is what she had to say.
So SoXial Xperiment was a name that was given to me by a fan. I think I asked a question on Twitter and somebody came up with that name, and it was based off how Let Me Explain had the X in it or something, or it might have been something that I had proposed before and then somebody mentioned that I should use X instead of E because of how I write my name. Instead of Xtatic, I write it with an X. It might have been that, and of course it was supposed to be an album that would have been released in 2017 under my then manager Kobe, who we parted ways like a short time after because of the pressure and just everything around it. Everything was going well until it wasn't, but it was partly my fault. Yeah, so that's what happened. But I recorded a bunch of songs. I think it's only one that we can see in this tape that was supposed to be in there. Other than that, the rest I have kept them to possibly redo them for an album, but some I may not use them in the form that, because we grow, the more we grow, the more our content changes. So I might change a little bit of stuff in them, but I still love what I did. And so the project does not have like a synopsis, or it does not have a formula, but I could just say it was more heartbreak than anything. I could say it was more me presenting these songs that had a lot of feelings, if you will, because I lack the word, but I feel like they go around the same plot, especially from song number 4. And I could just say from song number 4 to song number 8, yes, are my favorite. I don't like categorizing it. I don't even like saying that I have a favorite song, but I could just say 4 to 9 would probably be my favorite because of how vulnerable I was in those songs, and the fact that I rewrote some of the songs and I had new content and they were presenting me in a different way, and I've seen people appreciate that different way that they are presenting me. So that's probably what I would say. And also because most people kind of have been responding and feeling and just appreciating those songs. And of course I had a song for everybody in that tape, like a song that I could even post to my aunties and people as such, and post to people who like slower, more sad boy kind of music. Like it was very relatable music that I could share differently, with everybody who I have in mind.
Now, SoXial Xperiment features remakes and covers of songs. There's Not Today featuring Mixmaster Lenny. There's Reignition, Off Tattoo. Both of these songs were actually off Tattoo. And then she has remade the Cali Cartel 2 verse. Damn. Cali Cartel 2 verse. And that is on there. Now, my favorite songs on this project, and I'm gonna play them for you. I got Usibadilike with Ben Soul. This one really absolutely gets me in my feels, man. Absolutely, like, it's like when you fall in love with someone and you just want them to be the same way, or like you want that honeymoon phase to last forever and ever, and you're just like, come on, man, I told you, I got you from jump, and please don't change, cause I got you.
Remember what I told you, baby. Can you remember what I told you, baby? Usibadilike, yeah. Remember what I told you, baby.
Another song that I absolutely love is Composure with Fancy Fingers. Now, this is a remake of I Ain't Mad At Ya by Pac. And I'd have you know that it was this week only that I discovered that I Ain't Mad At Ya is also a sample. And the original song is called A Dream by DeBarge, and it was released in 1983. Now, DeBarge, I don't even know if I'm saying this correctly, was an American musical recording group composed of several members of the DeBarge family. And actually, back in the day, they used to get compared to the Jackson family. Yep. So that song, A Dream, it was sampled by Tupac in I Ain't Mad At Ya and was recorded on the day he was released from prison and released 2 days after his death in 1996. The same sample was also used on Blackstreet's Don't Leave Me. Yeah, so I'm putting you on game.
I loved you once, I'd love you again, and we could never opt to settle as friends.
Those are my two favorite songs. I also really dig how Here We Go Again. Of course, I said more singing X. I would absolutely love that. I love the BS cover with Xenia. Oh, they're like, I seen you with your new bitch. You boost my self-esteem. It's like, you know when you break up with someone and you're like, okay, you ain't never gonna get better than this. You ain't never gonna do better than this. You ain't never gonna do better than me. And then, I mean, we always say those words out of being hurt, right? But then you meet your ex in public the other time and it's like, oh, that's who you fucking with, son. That's who you rocking with right now. I'm Gucci, baby. Like, I'm good. And of course, Moment. I love the raps on there, man. This is a solid project and I would love for you to go ahead and check it out. Make sure that you go ahead and check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on SoundCloud as well and enjoy yourself. There's so much dope music happening, so much good stuff out here, and I'm here for all of it. Now, this marks the end of our first Issa POPup minisode on the Kingship podcast. Let me know if you'd like more reviews, if you would like to be introduced to more artists from all over Africa, and we're gonna do just that. Make sure that you check out my podcast. Main episodes drop every Sunday. And this Sunday, I'm going to be hanging out with the phenomenal woman. That's a conversation you do not want to miss. Follow me on social media platforms at JustRubyV. And if you like what you hear, share with your friends, put them on game, let them know that we kicking it heavy over here on the Kingship podcast. Peace!
And it's just very much the wise thing to do.